Welcome to Build Wealth Logically. Your path to financial growth starts here. Calculate, invest, and grow.
All right, welcome back. Today, we're diving into something that's, high stakes for just about anyone. Those first 90 days. It doesn't matter if you're kicking off a brand new company or just stepping into a new role. The moves you make right at the beginning, they literally set the trajectory for everything that comes after. We're talking about the difference between building unstoppable momentum and just fizzing out before you even get started.
Okay, so let's get right into why this window of time is so incredibly critical. See, there's this trap, this transition trap that so many people fall into right at the beginning. And honestly, just knowing it exists is half the battle.
Let's just start with the cold, hard math of it all. A whopping 40% of new ventures fail inside of 18 months. But here's the kicker, the really critical insight. The seeds of that failure, they're almost always planted in the first 3 months. So this isn't just some random number, right? It's a massive warning sign telling you just how high the stakes are from the second you walk in the door.
So, what do? How do you make sure you're not just another one of those statistics? And look, this isn't about just trying to work harder or, crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. No, it's about having a plan, a real blueprint, a way to engineer your way through what is absolutely a make or break period. And that right there brings us to this really crucial shift in how you think about it. Most people, they have a sink or swim mentality. They just jump in and hope for the best. But an engineer's mindset, totally different. It doesn't rely on hope. It relies on design. It's about actually methodically building a bridge to where you want to go, right from day one, while everyone else is just splashing around trying not to drown. Okay, so we've got that engineering mindset locked in. What's next? Well, our first objective becomes crystal clear. We're in a race against the clock. And the finish line for this race is reaching a really important milestone called the break-even point. And think about it. This makes total sense, right? When you start anything new, you're what we call a net consumer. You're soaking up resources, taking up people's time, spending capital, all just to figure out what's going on. The break-even point, that's the magic moment when the scales finally tip. It's when you stop taking and you start giving back more value than you're using up.
And you can see that journey laid out perfectly here. Over on the left, you're that net consumer. You're kind of like a machine that needs fuel just to run. But on the right, you've become a net creator, a machine that's now actually producing things, ideas, solutions, real value. And your entire mission, your whole goal in these first 90 days is to get from the left side to the right side as fast as you possibly can.
Okay, so how do you speed that up? How do you make that jump faster? Well, the key is this idea called promoting yourself. And wait, this has nothing to do with getting a new job title or a corner office. It's a mental promotion. It means you have to consciously let go of the things that made you good at your last job so you can be great at your new one. If you are an amazing coder, you have to stop thinking just about lines of code and start thinking about team performance and hitting big project goals. All right, once you've made that mental shift, the next critical step is diagnosis. You can't use a generic one-size-fits-all plan. It doesn't work. You have to engineer a strategy that's custom-built for the exact situation you're walking into. It's all about matching your game plan to what's actually happening on the ground. And here's a really powerful tool for that, the STARS model. It breaks things down into 4 common situations you might find yourself in: startup, turnaround, accelerated growth, and realignment. And trust me, each one of these needs a completely different playbook. Are you building a startup from zero? That's all about moving fast and having a vision. But what if you're in a turnaround, trying to save a company that's failing? That's not about speed. That's about performing some pretty radical surgery.
And really, the core message here couldn't be simpler, but it's so important. You can't use a screwdriver to drive a nail. It just won't work. Trying to bring that frantic startup energy into a situation that needs careful realignment, you're just going to create chaos. So getting this diagnosis right isn't just like step 1. It's probably the single most important decision you'll make because everything else you do flows from it.
Okay, you've diagnosed the situation. You know what kind of game you're playing. Now it's time to actually do something. We're shifting from thinking to doing. And it's all about creating one of the most powerful forces in the universe, momentum.
So what's the fuel for this momentum? It's something called early wins. Think about it like this. When you're new, your most valuable currency is credibility. And you start with basically 0. So you have to earn it, and you have to earn it fast. Early wins are those small, tangible victories that prove to everyone that you know what you're doing. They're a signal, a loud, clear signal to your team, your boss, your investors that says, hey, this is working. And the cool thing is, these wins don't just happen one at a time. They kickstart what's called a virtuous cycle. It's like a snowball effect. You get that first small win, which earns you some credibility. That credibility makes it way easier to get people on board and build some real momentum. And guess what? That momentum makes it so much easier to get the next win. It's this amazing feedback loop that just keeps building on itself until it becomes this unstoppable force.
Now, of course, this whole engine only works if all the pieces are moving in the same direction. To get those wins, you have to engineer alignment. That just means getting your boss, your team, your resources, and your strategy all on the same page. You need everyone rowing in the same direction. And the best way to do that? Sit down and agree on exactly what success looks like at day 30, then at day 60, and then at day 90. No confusion, no mixed signals.
And look, if the whole thing, the big mission, feels totally overwhelming, just remember this. Stop trying to win the whole war at once. You can't. Instead, just focus everything you've got on winning the first battle, then the next one. That's how you build the credibility, that's how you build the momentum you're going to need for the long fight ahead.
So, at the end of the day, remember this. The first 90 days, it's not just some time on a calendar. It's a full-on engineering phase. It's where you lay the foundation for absolutely everything that follows. For all of us, on some project, in some part of our lives, the clock is ticking. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. What's your day one move?
If you believe wealth should be engineered, not guessed, like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss the next strategy.